Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Thunder, and this is Two Dads React, and we've got a great show for you today. What is NEOM? What is NEOM? So there's a lot of these mega cities that it seems that there's plans for or are already under construction in the Middle East. So what's up with that? And just how sort of technologically advanced are they going to be? And does that mean that they're going to be sort of taking secret videos of your activities and Big Brother's watching, but I guess you don't call it Big Brother there. So, what is this about? New ways, different ways to violate your privacy. It's always something. But what is NEOM? We're going to talk about that and a lot more. Remember, we'll be going back and forth. I've got a number of, again, trending downwards as far as stuff that is allowed in what's called church. And I think that's a bad sign, perhaps a sign of the end. So, what is NEOM? Let's talk about it. Let's go. Warning: some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. What was that, man?
Not much. How about you?
I'm all right. You know, it is once again Thursday, and we have a riveting, thought provoking, and maybe sign of the end times, which seems like that seems like we
Yeah.
have a similar theme. A lot of the content that we sort of a lot of the stuff that we kind of talk about seems to be signs of decline. Um, but that's okay. We're gonna have we'll have a good time discussing uh the end of the world and everything. Um, but today's show we're gonna be talking. The main topic is gonna be what is NEOM. What I mean, and why don't you give us a little bit of a maybe like a couple bullet points on what the main event will be, and then we'll jump into some TikToks for some signs of decline.
Okay. Well, there's this futuristic mega city being built right now in Saudi Arabia, and it's supposed to be. Maybe I can show it on my sharing here. I can show a little
Sure.
bit.
Absolutely. Here you go.
It's pretty large, and what's really curious about it is it's probably one of the only cities that actually could theoretically be the Babylon mentioned in Revelation because of certain things that are required that a lot of people like kind of skip over. Like it says that there will be shepherds in the city, literal shepherds with flocks, which you probably won't see in New York City or a lot of places because people don't have shepherds walking around in cities, you know what I mean? But
Right.
this place is well known for having lots of shepherds, and so you could actually see potentially something like that happen in the city. It's a mega city being built. It's supposed to be a smart city. They're actually already building it. We're going to be getting into that as we go along in this video. What's really interesting though is the coin. This is NEOM, NEOM. As you can see here, New Earth, of course, order money. As you can see there, that's literally the digital, digital coin for the city, and it's kind of intriguing. We'll be getting into that and actually a lot more in this video as we go along. Of course, we're going to be watching TikToks as well of the end of the world as well. So,
That's right. More signs of decline, and I've got some doozies for us. Really, some doozies. Um, Today is going to be dysfunctional church edition. I've got a lot of bogus stuff, and I am going to apologize right now for some language. I want to apologize right now for some language and some crude. Now, this is at a church. This is during a testimonial service. She's coming up seeking to sort of testify and sort of confess in front of the church, some stuff that she's been involved in. Uh, but it kind of maybe goes a little bit too far. Let's see.
Bible said the food only the fool makes the mockers out of God. He's nothing to be played with. And food and heart says there's no God, but God is real. I used to come home drunk from school, laying up with men, out there prostituting, having oral sex with my mouth, licking men's balls.
no world, dude.
Okay, wait a minute.
Amen.
One more time.
Remember you in prayer.
Well, one more time. One more time for the people in the back. See, I mean, it sounds like her speech is slurred and stuff. Um, so it seems like she might be under the influence of something. But hey, um, everybody gets a shot, right? Um, take you as you are, all of that.
Y'all
Here we
pray
go.
for me. Bible said the food only the fool makes the mockers out of God. He's nothing to be played with. And food and heart says there's no God, but God is real. I used to come home drunk from school, laying up with men, out there prostituting, having oral sex with my mouth, licking men's balls.
I'm sorry.
I think she's drunk, man. Isn't she drunk?
Oh,
She
she's
sounds so
definitely
drunk.
drunk,
Yeah.
high.
Remember in
She's
prayer.
something.
Oh yeah.
Anyone else
I
have a
think you're
word
right.
from the Lord?
Okay. So now that's not like that's not really a recent clip. That actually that was sort of trending for a while, and then it started trending again. And I recently saw that again. But I think part of what it is like on so I have two different TikToks. I've got one that's all music, it's only music stuff, and then I've got one that's more kind of social commentary and stuff. And that one, when I'm on that one and watching when I'm logged in as that one, it shows me all of these like a lot of dysfunctional church stuff, a lot of paternity stuff, a lot. It just shows me constantly showing me that stuff. Here's another one. Okay, now this is interesting because um this is interesting because we usually associate a lot of these sort of supposed fits of the spirit, like when people are going spastic and stuff, like they got the Holy Ghost and they're running around and all like this. We usually associate sort of emotional outbursts and things in stuff that's hard to explain. It's just like they just look like they're acting spastic with, like Pentecostal or like charismatic kind of churches, right? Now, this obviously is not a church, but check this out.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah. So, yeah, just wild and crazy. I got one more for you. I got a lot of these today. Let's see here. What is this? Oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. Here's some more dysfunctions for you. This is great. Um, the orientation on this video is different though. Let's see if I can go. No, I can't. I can't get it to. I'm not gonna be able to get it to. Because it like for whatever reason it's a TikTok video, but it downloaded as a 16:9. Because usually they're this taller format, but you should still be able to see what happens. So here we go.
Receive it!
Stunned.
Okay, so let's watch it again from the beginning, right from the beginning, one more time. Okay, so check it out. Check it out.
Get these videos, man.
And he's like blowing in the mic and stuff for like extra effect and stuff. But so he's doing some kind of some kind of you know
Jiggle or something. I don't know.
yeah, some kind of what is it? Was it like the beginning of like the Harlem Shake or something? It's like he's doing this, and then and look at the look at the coat he has on, right?
Pimpmeister right there. Pimp. That's
Right, exactly. This dude comes up and he's doing some Harlem Shake stuff.
He's got his God pimp. Is that what we're talking about here? What in the world, dude?
This stuff is totally ridiculous. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's what you got for us here? Let's you take it over for a little bit.
All right. Okay. Well, what's interesting about this whole NEOM thing? Again, this seems to be the model that they want to have for the rest of all the cities in America and the world, where essentially you would have some sort of credit score, not the kind you would use today, but something social based. And they have, of course, a digital currency, as I mentioned, which is literally called New Earth, orders money. I mean, it's literally the words, I mean, the word earth is world. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, right? It's just like all those videos back in the old days. It's like literally the exact same phrase. And they're trying to set it up to where they have digital currency, and then they can easily limit how they could put a time limit on your money. And this is kind of what they're going for. Once the whole thing crashes, they want to have like time limits on your money. Like it could be 90 days you have to spend this money or it'll expire. They could easily put like a tag on it saying this is only for food, this is only for real estate. You could have like $30,000 and not be able to use it to buy a car because it's only for food, things like that. They're talking. They've been talking about the things they
It's
can do
freaking
with
foods.
digital
That's
money.
called a food. That's called food stamps. That's called EBT.
Right. And of course, they want to make
It's
robots.
like,
They're going to have
dude,
robots there too, right? They're going to have robots. And since no one is having kids anymore, no one's getting married, you got to have robots replace everybody. And if you have robots replace everybody, then no one's going to be able to, no one really has to work because robots are doing all the work. So then they want to give you a universal income, which is like food stamps, like you're saying. And then, of course, if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, they could just turn your money off or whatever they wanted to do.
or speed up your expiration.
Yeah,
Oh, I
or
thought I
just
had
like
5 more days.
they
Oh, you're
they do it
mistaken.
in China right now. They already do it in China. I mean, they like if like you know what they do if they know there's a protest coming, they'll literally shut off like all the people they know is going to be in it. They'll shut off like the train so that no one can get into the train that they think might go to it and stuff like that. So they've already done that. They've done that over there in that country, but of course, they're going to try to make it mind blowing. Like, oh, it's going to be so awesome. There's going to be artificial intelligence, robots going to look super futuristic. They're actually already building it, by the way. They're already building it. This is a golf course that would be on this one. They're already building it. And actually, here's the real. I got the real picture around here somewhere. Where's the real picture? Oh no, that's not it. I think it's this one here. Actually, I hope it doesn't show an ad. It probably show an ad. Yep, shows an ad. Okay, let me do it this way. There's the actual island, and you can see here they're already building everything on it and stuff. But they call them smart cities. They've actually been doing it, and they've already done this in Canada. They got one smart city that they're started. I think Japan they got one as well, and they're trying to build these so that in the future they can have all these type of setups to where it's like completely everything is tracked. I mean, even like your refrigerator will be a smart refrigerator. It will know whether or not they'll be able to communicate between devices and stuff too. So
Right.
like if you had like a score that was low, you might not be able to open your refrigerator or whatever.
Oh, goodness. See what sucks about this stuff, and what's frustrating about this stuff is that um, when you say these kinds of things out loud, then they call you a conspiracy theorist. But then when all of this stuff happens, it's not like they're going to come back and say, "I'm sorry, you actually were right, and you're going to
No,
get the
yeah.
credit for this." They're never going to do that. They're just going to make you look like some freaking tinfoil hat dude, you know, and so because a lot of the stuff that is happening is like you said earlier, um, it's stuff like from sci-fi movies, something that we didn't really talk about. I don't know that we've really done a show on this, but maybe we could do a show maybe next week or something on this. Is cloning, because that has accelerated like crazy.
They even have
And
like there's this place that's gonna have incubators and stuff. You
uh,
saw that video?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw all of that stuff, but that stuff, the
You don't know what
but
they're putting into they got all these like IVs and stuff in. You don't know what they're sticking in there. You know what I mean? Who knows, right?
yeah.
I
And
was
then
going to
and
mention
and then
also,
like when people say, and if you look at this comment, if people say stuff like this, So it's a trial run for the setup of the beast system, right? Of course, that's like a biblical prophecy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you look like you're crazy or you're some kind of religious lunatic. But like when you look around and you're like, yeah, but there's like a lot of stuff that's going on. It seems like, I mean, how much worse is it is it going to actually get before this stuff actually breaks out?
Well, I think
You
a
know?
lot of normies are seeing it already, but there's actually something rather curious I want to show you later. An article about 3 local tribe members in Saudi Arabia and what happened to them when they opposed the city. You're going to be shocked by it. I'm going to show you that later. Um, it makes you really understand that it's much more going on here than what it seems. It's not just a simple city, you know. Anyway, you go ahead, man, with
All
some
right, let's see what we got here.
Wonderful TikToks here.
Oh yeah, these are okay. Here's another. Here's some more. Here's some more dysfunction for you. In these are not just from United States. They're from actually around the world. So here, this let's
They
see what
got
he's.
some funny. They got some funny ones. I think in somewhere in Africa, there's some really funny ones that are just like, what? I think it's South Africa. I think it's I'm not quite sure, but I've seen some really crazy ones.
Yeah, well, this one's pretty crazy. Watch this.
Frogger.
Yeah.
It's Cubert Frogger or something. I don't know.
I mean, just imagine you go to church. You know, this is a respectable place. Oh, the preacher, he looks respectable. He's got a suit on. Okay, this seems good. And then the dude turns into freaking Frogger in the middle. So that's something you might miss. You might miss that. You might think that they sync that music in later. He taught the keyboard player. They probably rehearsed this. Okay,
Yeah, man.
they rehearsed this so that he could.
Hey, pretty good. Pretty good at it.
Goodness
It's better
gracious!
than flapping around on. I mean, it's better than flapping around on the ground. I guess you know. Something going on with your thing there.
Yeah, it's just it probably couldn't handle the Frogger stuff. It was like I've had enough of that. Okay, so here this is a not on the church theme. I've got a couple that aren't on the sort of weird stuff going on in churches sort of theme. But this is a, you know, again, you're not allowed to talk like this, but what he says is making a lot of sense.
Thomas, the swimmer that competes and wins a NCAA championship as a man against other women, and we say we must do nothing. Where track championship after track championship are being won by biological men competing against women. And not just competing, but winning. And they're bullying them, and they're antagonistic, and they're narcissistic, and they're cheaters, and they're all those things. And so some, criticism I receive is, well, Charlie, aren't you a Christian? Don't you love that person? Of course we do. That person's made in the image of God. We should have compassion for that person. However, the question is then, what do you do with somebody that is suffering with a mental delusion? If somebody shows up at the airplane ticket counter and says, I have an imaginary friend, I demand 2 seats on a plane. You would say, well, I need to charge you for 2 seats. No, it's my truth. It's actually, I'm a dual personality. You say you're insane. If someone is anorexic and says, I need liposuction, you'd say, no, you're suffering under a mental delusion. If somebody says I'm offended every single time I see other people eat in public, do we stop eating in public? Do we now reaccommodate society for other people's mental struggles or issues? What we are living through is that we now have to change our customs, our code of beliefs, our behaviors for people that are personally struggling with something. That is evil, everybody.
Yeah, man.
So what do you think? What do you think of that?
I think he's making some sense. Obviously, I don't think all of them are literally suffering under some sort of delusion. I think some of them know what they're doing, but I think some of them are taking advantage of it. Some people use it so they can get into things and rooms and places, like, if you're in a prison and you're a dude, you don't want to be around a bunch of dudes. You're like, oh, I'm a transgender. So then you get to be with all the
It,
women. Right.
so this,
So it
so
makes
let me
sense.
tell. Well, let me tell
I
you
think it's
something.
some people are taking advantage of it. Some people maybe actually have a
Yeah.
delusion. Some people are using it as to get whatever they want. I don't know. Just depends.
And let me tell you something about that. This was a joke that comedians were telling when, like, in the early stages of this sort of trans movement, right? They were saying, watch, male prisoners are going to
Oh
claim that
yeah.
they're women so that they can go. And of course, that was seen as, oh, that's just, you're fear mongering. And of course,
Oh,
they're
it's not.
comedians.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be able to joke about stuff like that, right? But it was actually true.
But
And
and it's not like the good. It's not like the good prisoners either. It's going to be those dudes that like to do things they shouldn't do, because they're like, oh, I want to, rape. So then they're like, oh, I can just pretend to be a woman, get over there, and do whatever I want. You know what I mean? It
I
makes
mean,
sense. They're the
yeah,
worst guys.
we know that some of the female inmates have been impregnated by. So, I mean, so we know that this stuff it actually happens. But when you say it out loud, then you're the person with the problem.
Oh god, really?
And it's like,
I mean, seriously, you can't throw your brain out the window. You have to actually think about some of this stuff. They're also, like he was saying, if you get offended at every word that's said, or if someone's eating in front of you, there's a thing. Even now, we even have like Tom Hanks coming out because they keep trying to update classic stories, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and just Agatha Christie novels, and just a lot of other old books, because they use the word fat, or they use enormously large, or whatever, stuff like that. I
right.
don't know if you saw any of that, but yeah, even Tom Hanks, just like Bill Maher, it's like people that are like completely way out there, not even remotely in our field. They're like, man, this is getting ridiculous. Even Tom Hanks is coming out. Even like actors are coming out like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's totally ridiculous. Okay, so let's do this one more, and then you take it over for a little bit. So, uh, so
This is
uh,
funny. Look at the title.
yep,
What in the world, dude?
yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Now check it out, man. And this won't disappoint. It's exactly what that says. Here we go.
Jesus. Jesus. Why you come up with me to pray for you and lock your knees? Go sit down if you don't want me to pray for you. I ain't gonna be lock your knees there. You pray for somebody that lock their knees. What you come up here for?
What?
You don't come to receive, don't come.
Oh, come
God
on,
ain't
dude.
making you get nothing.
He's look. So it's one thing. Look. See, this shows you. This tells you that this is all a show. It tells you it's all a show. Okay, because he is more concerned about being disrespected and his time being wasted, and continues talking about it after he's way over on the other side still talking about it in the mic. He's talking
He's
about it
talking.
in the mic.
He's talking bad about her too. He's like talking down on her. Yeah, like she did something wrong for trying to get prayed for.
Jesus. Why you come up with me to pray for you and lock your knees? Go sit down if you don't want me to pray for you. I ain't gonna be lock your knees there. You pray for somebody that lock their knees. What you come up here for? You don't come to receive, don't come. God ain't
He didn't
making you
talk
get
to her.
nothing.
He still talks. He keeps talking about it.
Yeah, he never talked to her either. He never talked to her. He talked at her and talked about her like that. Yeah, it
And
was
and
very disrespectful too.
it's disrespectful, and it messed up his show, right? Because he wants her
No,
to
I meant
not
like
have her
he's
knees
disrespectful to her, right? Yeah, but you're saying it
right.
messed up his show too.
Right. So the thing is that he wants her knees to not be locked so that he can just push her, and then it'll appear that she's falling down under the power of the Holy Spirit. You know, that's why he was upset, that because she locked her knees, because he starts to press on her and she's pushing it back against him because she doesn't want to fall down. Why do you want to fall down? Unless something actually happens that causes you to fall down, that's supernatural, and I'm not ruling that out as a possibility. Why would you go up there trying to fall down? So that just makes me think that goodness gracious.
They're for money, man. They're trying to make money off of you guys. You got to have a show. Can't make money without a show. Come on, man.
That's terrible, man. All
Not
right,
always.
take it
but
over,
think a
man.
lot of
I can't handle that, man. You gotta take it over
Oh,
for a
it's
little
my
bit.
turn. All right, all right. Here, just a second. Let me get something. I was going to show a different. I have like multiple windows open here. Let me show you this. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Actually, can I show? I want to show it on the screen a little bit better. There we go. Tom Hanks rebukes his own publisher for updating classic stories from PG Wodehouse. Let me decide what I'm offended by. Yep. Everyone gets offended because it said the word fat in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Really? Wow. I mean, and what's interesting is it's not only him. There's like lots of other actors. Richard Dreyfuss, uh, diversity rules, they make me vomit. He's talking about the fact that they just have a quota. They're not really trying to help anybody out. And they're not. And what's really interesting, I'm kind of curious what you think about this Cleopatra movie that came out, because I saw some really interesting posts from a guy talking about the fact that if you look at what Jada Pinkett Smith says she wanted, because she's the narrator of of Cleopatra, this
Yeah.
Queen Cleopatra came out. She said she wanted a strong female character, a queen that defeated Rome and was obviously African, right? And what's interesting is this guy points out that Cleopatra never defeated Rome and she's Greek. And then he goes and says there actually is a woman who did do what she's looking for. I never even heard of her. Queen Amanireus, apparently, African warrior from Kush Kingdom or Nubia, present day Sudan. It was like around 10 BC. She basically defeated Rome. She was a queen over the entire country and defeated Rome. But what's interesting is it made perfect sense to me why they do this, because this ain't going to sell. Hollywood wants a name that will sell. Cleopatra will sell, right? But Queen Amanireus, who's heard of that? You know what I mean? So like they want to be able to make money, but also at the same time pretend like they're helping out, or you know what I mean? You see what I'm getting at? Like they're trying to cut corners so they can make sure their money's still there, but then pretend like they care or something like that. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. But
Yeah, there's a lot of people upset about the ethnicity of Cleopatra in that depiction. And the thing is this is interesting. Um, some of the backlash, um, I take to be out of place. This is why. Uh, if you consider all of the historical figures that have been misrepresented,
there's a
um,
lot.
you know, if you consider, for instance, the depictions of Jesus, all of
Yeah, I
the
was just thinking Jesus.
most
I
of the
was thinking Jesus.
right. So if you consider that, if you consider even other historical figures that were clearly darker complected, but then they do a movie and he's like the guy's got blue eyes, you know
Moses, or like Charlton Heston or something, like Moses or something like
right.
that.
So when
And
you
by the
consider
way,
all of
you know what's so funny about that? That was like 1940 or something, or 30, right? And then
that,
they didn't make a Moses movie until like 2012, and it was like completely misrepresented, like completely backwards, made Noah look terrible, and it was Russell Crowe in that one.
yeah.
It's just amazing. They just can't do anything right. They can't represent. That's why a lot of people like Mel Gibson. Like he had that movie. Um, Well, he did a movie on Jesus that was like very accurate. It had
The Passion of
Aramaic
the
in it.
Christ.
Yeah, he also had that one on the Aztecs or whatever. I can't remember what it was called, Apocalypto, and
Uh,
it was like very
yeah, I know the name of
Apocalypto.
that one. Yeah, yeah, right, right, right.
And it was like more realistic because it was actually how they looked. It was like actually, and he put all his money behind it, you know. So like he was actually trying to make a really awesome movie, putting a lot of risk out there. And I feel like a lot of these Hollywood studios, they don't want to put any risk. They just want to keep regurgitating the same theme. They'll just like remake a movie, and then they want to placate to the woke whatever. Make sure they got enough quotas for every type of actor and stuff like that, whether irregardless of, you know what I mean. That's just kind of how I look at it, and maybe it's been that way the entire time, I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah. Uh, the stuff is silly. I don't like this sort of like the fake outrage stuff. Like, how dare you make her? Oh, this is inaccurate, because you don't care when it's inaccurate as long as it's depicted more like you. That's
well,
the, that's the
a lot of people thought Cleopatra was probably black or at least Egyptian or something. That's just like an assumption a lot of people probably had in their head, but it doesn't explain the low rating on IMDb. It's like so low that there's got to be just a lot of bad. Like it must not be a good series. I'm thinking because it's a
well, yeah, yeah,
1.0.
no, yeah, yeah. I'm not necessarily talking about that because I haven't
Yeah.
seen the series. I can't speak
Well, I can't speak to it, but
authoritatively
I
about.
mean
Yeah,
1.0, I mean either that's like a huge campaign to just kill the show, or there really is something I mean, because I've never seen a 1.0, so there's something going on there. I don't know what that is, but that's pretty low.
yeah.
1.0 is pretty
Wasn't there
low.
there was a I think it was I think it might have been one of the it might have been one of the Chappelle Show specials, um, where it rated really low on Rotten Tomatoes or something initially,
Oh,
but then
Chappelle?
once everything came in, then it was back to what you would think it would be. But they were, but I can't remember what the oh no, I think I know what it was. It was one of Larry Elder's um
Oh, Larry
document.
Elder, okay.
It was one of his documentaries. I think it was Uncle Tom. Um,
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
initially they were tanking it, but then once more came in, then it was like, oh yeah, people actually dug this. But they
Who's
were
the guy who ran
trying
for
to.
office?
He did, he ran for governor of California. Obviously, he didn't get
Right.
it, but but he actually did very well considering that he really didn't have any prior political, you know,
Well, there's a
experience.
difference between Jada Smith and Larry Elders. Jada Smith is completely in the in crowd, and you would think if anything, the IMDb would probably be helping her, but apparently not because it's a one. I don't know what's going on there. It just seems really strange, but uh, especially if you're on the wrong team. If you're on the right team, they usually help you, but apparently they're not helping her. I don't know what's going on with that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what's Rihanna up to?
Oh, there's a lot of people are okay. A lot of people are saying what she tweeted was really kind of creepy because she said my son is so fine rather than just saying he's fine, so fine. And they were saying like it was implying something more than just he looks nice. Like, you know what I mean? There are a lot of fans apparently of hers were saying this. I personally, I don't know. It just looks kind of strange to me, the pictures in general, but the way she was speaking, apparently a lot of her fans thought was really creepy. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird sort of like not sort of acknowledging certain lines and certain kind of modes of conduct, certain ways you don't reference certain things. Um, um, I would say there's a lot of that. I'd say in the black community, there's a lot of and a lot of it is because there's not as many fathers to sort of kind of guide and guard from that stuff. Now, obviously, the husband, she has a husband, the father of the kid, but when you have sort of a critical mass, not just a critical mass, you have 70% don't have their dad around. That really slant stuff in a certain direction. So even when you do have some fathers involved, you know, they're they're yelling into the void. You know, they're trying to get stuff to happen, but you can't get anything to happen because everybody else is doing this other thing, has sort of normalized certain behavior. But there's a lot of like,
I think it's more than that though, man. Isn't it just Hollywood itself and so and the music industry wants to sort of
well, but
keep down the black community, I think
but
personally.
well, so this is okay. So this is why I'm saying this. Okay,
I mean, look what
uh,
happened to Bill Cosby. I really feel like that was just something planned
look,
out, you know what I mean?
certainly,
Yeah.
yeah, certainly it is the case that Hollywood has played a significant role. My point is that the reason that they would even consider, or she would even consider putting a message out like this, or her handlers or anything else to consider this as being okay, is because there's a lot of like blurring of the lines and like not understanding what the code actually should be. Like you shouldn't say this about your kid. And there's just it's just like a I was watching CGA. Shout out to CGA, Coach Greg Adams, a little earlier today. I was on the I had a gig earlier and was in the car riding home listening, and he was going down like a list of, and this is, and I consider this to be quite analogous actually. Um, a lot of people don't understand what certain clothing suggests, or like what kind of people historically wore those clothing, or stuff like makeup, or big, or eyelashes, like, or like, deep red blush, like rouge, like red lipstick, or like leopard print clothes, and a lot of young people don't know, for instance, they don't know what like the difference between what would be, you know, like a blouse, like a regular top, and like lingerie. So you actually have, you have young women walking around with basically with lingerie on and some shorts.
Kim
You know,
Kardashian, you could think Kim Kardashian and her type, you know? I mean, honestly, isn't that sort of the role models today, you know? Kim
yeah, but
Kardashian pretty much.
you understand my point. My point is the reason why this kind of stuff gets normalized is nobody is really checking it. No one is really pushing back because.
Yeah, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. It used to be there though, right? At least a little bit. Didn't
Hmm.
it used to be there? I mean, it just seems like society's gotten more and more separated. You have like sort of two sides that just keep separating more and more. I'm actually making a video right now. I just made it right before this broadcast, and it's about. I saw this interesting video from Troy Black. He's a guy who does prophecy and he has dreams and stuff from
Hmm.
God, and he does them on videos on YouTube. And he was talking about there's two goddesses that are influencing America, and I thought it was really interesting how what they were, because it makes perfect sense. It's Artemis and Venus. And Venus is like basically what we've been, a lot of people complain about on our side, like, oh, this over sexualized, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But Artemis is like trying to be chaste and pure. And it looks like it's the opposite direction. But, the devil loves to get in on both sides. You know what I mean? He loves to get in the church. He loves to be outside the church. And the devil can pretend to be a minister. He can pretend to be whatever, he can pretend to be super chaste it's really interesting because you have this theology in the ancient times that was promoted, like, priests are not to marry, and you shouldn't have relations the night before you give a sermon. They had this weird theology, and it kind of got stuck throughout history, and the church has kind of picked up on this, like, anything that's in this realm is like taboo and bad, and I feel like it's like the devil's purposely doing that, because what happens when you just completely say all of it's bad, people become hypocrites, right? And if they become hypocrites, they tend to do worse stuff. It's kind of like when you're on a diet. Like, okay, you're overweight, you want a diet, and you're like, I'm just going to go hardcore. I'm not going to eat anything that's unhealthy at all. And then when they do this, they usually can't stay with their diet, and they end up just going out to Burger King eating a triple Whopper, and then they feel bad afterwards, right? And they end up actually gaining
That sounds
more weight.
really good right now.
What's that?
Triple Whopper sounds really good right now.
Okay, man. Now I'm just saying, like, if you're on a diet, you don't try to like completely go hardcore, like stop everything, because you end up usually becoming a hypocrite and not sticking with the diet. It's like very
Yeah.
common. And so
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, well, go ahead.
Yeah, it seems like you're talking about balance. I mean, you have to have
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to have some kind of balance. You can't just go lean way in a particular direction. You have to
But
have the
that's where our
right
society is now. Our society is going, they're leaning two ways, very extreme. You got like feminism and you got the manosphere, right? And you got there's like this what's his name? Rollo? What's it? Rollo? Is that his name?
Rollo Tomasi?
That dude had the most crazy. I saw this post on Twitter. It was insane. He's like saying, "Okay, you want to be a high value man," and we wrote down what a high value man was, and it was the most ridiculous BS I ever saw in my life. Don't get married, get a vasectomy at age 20, and
Yep.
like I'm like, how are you a high value man if you got a vasectomy? What is that even? Like a high value man is a man that can get a woman pregnant and have a family. High value to who? High value to other men or other women, right? And so it's like they lose complete track of reality. And I feel like that's what happened is like both sexes have went way to the extremes, and they don't even listen to each other anymore. They lose complete touch with reality, and they're just like in their little sphere. They call it the manosphere. They call it the probably female sphere or whatever you want to call it, feminist sphere. I don't know what they call the women's side. Uh, you know,
Well, I'm cool with the manosphere in particular the black manosphere. Um, I think an issue that you have to address is that the manosphere is a religious. You know, so you have people in there that you have some Christians, you have some people that are, other religions, you have some agnostics, you have whatever, but they tend to sort of gather around issues associated with the, kind of dating market and the kind of deregulated dating market, a lot of issues that men tend to face. It actually started as a men's rights advocacy. That's actually the sort of proto manosphere, and that was all the topics. So stuff like child custody, stuff like you know, you know, what child support, paternity fraud, a lot of the laws that disproportionately go against men. It actually started as stuff talking about that, and it's kind of grown into talking more about these sort of intersexual dynamics and a lot of the challenges that men face. So to that extent, I'm good, and I'm also good with. For the most part, I agree with Rollo. I don't agree with this post that he put out that you're talking about.
you
I'm
got
aware of
ratio
that.
pretty, you got ratio pretty bad on it from what I
Yeah, yeah.
heard.
I don't agree with that, but there are aspects of the post that I agree with. There's just a few inflammatory things that he said that I just I just don't agree with. Right now there's a crisis in the manosphere because basically the manosphere has basically sworn marriage off.
See,
Okay.
that's what I was trying to get at. They actually put down people that are they kind of like put down like, oh, you're just a beta or something if you get married or something like that. And I'm married. I'm happily married. You're happily married. I actually see it as better than not being married. I feel like they just are over negative and over pessimistic. And it kind of reminds me of the same side for the Femi side. They actually just did it before us, and then the guys are just doing the same thing that
Okay,
they
so
did.
the
You know,
difference between that, because I really think that's a false equivalency. The
well, no,
difference.
I'm not saying overall, dude. I'm just saying there's aspects of selfishness that get in there and people think about themselves and no one else. They don't think about
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
woman
yeah.
doesn't
No,
think about the man
I'm
doesn't think about the woman, you know.
yeah, I'm with that, but I still think it's a false equivalency because basically you're talking about a community that's only existed for a few years, and really the general public didn't even know about this space except for over the last maybe 3 years, and that was mostly because of the pandemic, and then also because of the sort of catapulting in the rise of Kevin Samuels, who became a sort of household name, and everybody knew who the guy was, and he was saying a lot of what seemed to be like controversial and kind of edgy kind of stuff. But his talking points were actually uh, not his own talking points. It was stuff that had all been discussed and talked in the manosphere. Now, Kevin was actually an advocate of marriage. Rolo is actually an advocate of marriage. He just thinks that you shouldn't get married the way that we do it now. He's not an advocate of that because he considers it to be very risky. It's extremely
He's,
risky.
he's talking about the laws
He's talking about the laws, and that's
and
really
also
what the issue. It's the laws.
the culture too.
Well, yeah, I mean the so
The
you
laws
can
and the
if
culture together are not a good two
it's a
combo
terrible
there.
combination.
It's like
Exactly.
a one
It's
two.
a
It's
terrible
1-2 punch.
it's a terrible combination because you
And
have
especially certain states are really bad over other ones more so, I think, too.
well, no fault divorce screwed everything up.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a big factor. And wasn't Jesus literally preaching against that? That's what the Pharisees wanted was no fault divorce. And he preached against that. He said
Mm,
that you can't divorce for any reason. And so he
yeah.
was against no fault divorce. That was actually what the Pharisees taught.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people don't even know that. That's true though.
That's a great point. I like that point. So, but there's something going on right now in the manosphere spaces. You have the folks that have been very much against the idea of marriage, and almost to the point where they criticize others for being married or for encouraging people to get married. So you have that the sort of sect, and then you have the sect that says, well, yeah, marriage is risky, but if you take these if you do these things and make these choices, vet better and X, Y, and Z, get a prenup, don't do a legal marriage, all of these kind of things, then then you can make it work out for you. And you have passport bros. Passport
Which is
bros
yeah.
became a real thing because they're like, look, there's not great options, and if you marry a woman from overseas, it turns out, or not necessarily overseas, but at least not from this country, not from the Western world, the divorce rate is 13% as opposed to like 67% over a 40-year period of time.
That's funny, dude. I was like one of the first ones, passport.
I know
I
you
was
were
there
kind of
before anybody knew it existed, man.
that's right, right. God rules is a passport bro. He's a passport. He's proto passport bro.
Pre-COVID. Yeah, pre-COVID.
Proto passport bro. So um yeah, I get the thing, and
It's
sometimes the
kind of a
optics.
can you say MGTOW? It's like it's basically that
Yeah,
was existed before the Manosphere.
that's
Because I
right.
remember guys before that, and I thought they were usually highly analytical guys that were doing it, but they had their own problems. I felt like they weren't fully understanding stuff. But I mean, I can completely understand because there is a lot of laws are stacked against, and I think that's purposeful. I think the society's been designed that way. I think it comes down to the government. The government wants weak families. A lot of people don't understand this, especially a government that wants to have power over you wants weak families. This is just a perfect examples in the Bible. Just look at Moses in Egypt. I mean, the Israelites were getting too big because they had too many kids, and Egypt was getting scared. So that's why they turned them into slaves. That was the whole point.
Well, let me tell you, tomorrow I'm gonna go into in um my car thunder episode, which will be an open panel, folks. I'm gonna be talking in depth. I'm gonna be talking about this marriage issue, the marriage issue, because it's like a civil war right now, where there's some folks that they are sort of having an issue with some of the usual talking points. Now, I don't consider myself to be a part of the manosphere. I'm more part of the black manosphere, which is really a separate. It's a separate community that focuses on different kinds of issues and doesn't tend to be nearly as anti-marriage. I mean, there definitely are a lot of folks that are anti-marriage, but it's not nearly as anti-marriage um, as the general manosphere.
You know what the manosphere looks like now? It's basically the channel whatever. You got a bunch of only, chicks on there and some dudes arguing, and it's just like some dudes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like it's not real, man. It's like why are they bringing these women on, man? They just want to
Well, and well,
it's
so
like Jerry Springer, it's like the Jerry Springer manosphere or something, man. That's what it is pretty much.
here's the problem. Here's the problem. The problem is when you bring women on the platform, you get more eyes. You can
Oh,
get
of
more people
course.
to
That's
watch.
why they're doing it.
Okay,
That's why they're doing it. Yeah, I
that's
know.
right.
Yeah.
And Fresh and Fit, they they sort of figured out a strategy to get a lot of people to watch. But what people don't recognize about Fresh and Fit is Fresh and Fit actually do a lot of other kind of content. It's just that content, although it is actually watched a lot, is not watched nearly as much as these after hour shows that they do with like 12 girls where they're like, grilling them on telling them that they're making bad choices and all this kind of stuff. So those are the shows that have like 10,000 live viewers and stuff like that and get crazy
Right.
views and crazy super chats. But he'll also have on, they'll also have on like, you know, business, people that are expert in aspects of business. They'll have fitness gurus on. They'll have legal experts. They'll have all kinds of people on there. It's just folks don't, that's not the stuff that they, you know, that they want to see, that people want to see. And that's a hard issue to sort of crack. It's a hard problem to crack. And you know, my preference is if you're going to have women on the shows, then I mean, because I've interviewed women on my show, but I wasn't really talking on sort of relationship topics per se, unless that was what that person tended to talk about, right? Um, but if women are going to be involved, they either need to be not the subject. You know what I mean? Like you're not talking the way you're talking. It's not really for the women. You're talking to guys, and you could be talking about women because guys talk about women. That's one thing that guys talk about. And if you're having issues, then you can talk about that. Okay, that's fine. But it's tough. You get beyond a certain point with this stuff, and then it's kind of like, I mean, you got these girls that are dressed. I mean, they
It's
dressed in a
funny,
way.
dude.
They're dressed in a way that you would criticize. That
Yeah,
like
they have a
if they
couple. They
were
have a
not on
couple.
there, they would criticize us. Hey, you're dressed. You got everything hanging out and stuff, and you're advertising for everybody like this. This is the way that they would talk if they weren't in the room. But because they're in the room and they're still dressed that way, they know that they're going to get more eyeballs. I mean, so it's a business strategy.
It's trying to bring everybody in. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And they do bring on like the trad, type women and stuff a little bit, but it's usually like one out of
Every once in a
seven.
while.
The other seven are like all only chicks or whatever,
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
pretty much.
Okay, here let's see here. I've got a couple more things. Uh let's see here. Okay, here we go. Okay. We like to have fighting in the church, so here we go.
While we are still standing, we're asking the choir from Holy Rock Baptist Church if you would come share with this choir.
Amen.
While the choir from Holy Rock is coming, I need to make this perfectly clear. This is not our pastor-elect. This pastor was not elected by the church. One family does not elect a pastor without the church. I don't care. Listen, you can move on with this, but I'm going to ask you.
All right. All right. So it was somewhat mild. You know, remember I played that uh apparently it was a Muslim guy that went up to the whoever the the leader was, and he started spastically doing stuff like this. Usually you think of that as being like a charismatic kind of church, kind of thing, right? Um well, so here's here's what you might okay, hold up. 1 second. 1 second. I gotta show you something. See,
Is
some
that a
folks are
wig or something?
laughing. Some folks are in here laughing, and they're trying to hide their head so it's not obvious that they're laughing. You see them on the front row right there? You see these right here?
Yeah.
And this row right here? They look check them. She's like trying not to laugh.
The wig came off, man.
I got one more that's really it's really pretty crazy. Let's see, what do we got here? Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is exactly what that I wanted. Okay. Here we go.
What? What? I didn't even understand that. What happened there?
Okay, so she comes like a linebacker. See? Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Let's take a second. Okay,
Linebacker.
I'm trying to keep it together. Okay, so she comes like a linebacker. So, but she can't quite get. She tries to wrap him up, but he still is able to get free. So she doesn't get him down. He breaks the tackle. He breaks the tackle. See, you're like, here we go.
So he was actually trying to knock him over?
Well, no, I don't think she was trying to. I'm kind of teasing. It looks like she's trying to tackle the dude in like the wrestle, but really, what it was, I think that he said something, and she got excited, and then now she's having like an emotional,
Maybe she got a little bit too emotional there. What in the world, man?
Yeah. Okay. I gotta show you this one. I gotta show you this one last one. Okay. No, this is actually on Fresh and Fit right there. But that ain't the one. This is. I don't think we're gonna get to that one. I might have to save that one for next week. Let's see, what is this? Okay. Yeah, this is the one. Hey, this was great. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here. So obviously he's getting criticized. He's getting chastised for putting his leg up on the pulpit. Here we go.
Why did he walk off? So what happened? Did he walk off or what? I don't get it.
Yeah, because
so,
he got
he says,
chastised. The guy beside him is telling him, "Get your leg down from there. What's wrong with you?" You know, this is the kind of stuff he's got to be saying to him. What? You know, he's got to be telling him that is disrespectful. What the heck is wrong with you? We're in the house of the Lord. With your leg on top of the pulpit.
I've seen
He's
a
trying to
lot of
ride it
videos,
like a horse or something. Like, what the heck is wrong with you, bro?
You heard about the guy that like biker kicks some woman to give her the Holy Ghost? You hear about that one? What was that guy's name? I can't remember his name. There's some minister. He's a white dude. I can't remember. He had all these tattoos everywhere.
Right.
He was like a charismatic leader, and he like literally kicked her in the face, and that was him giving her the anointing. That's so messed up, dude.
All right, you got anything else for us, man, or you want to just like recap?
No, I'm good, man. I got. I mean, we could talk about some other stuff, but I think we've already talked about a lot of stuff, though. So
Well,
we can
why
just
don't
recap.
why don't you just like recap a few of the things that you've talked
Oh
about?
yeah, okay.
And then we'll just
Let's go back to the. I got so many things, so many windows open. Let me see here. All right, so I didn't show this. I mean, you might have heard about this NEOM, like I said, but like it's literally a wall that's 100. I think it's 100 and some miles long, and you're gonna live inside this wall. I don't know if it's a mile thick or I don't remember how thick it is, but it's like got all these apartments in it and everything. Just to give you an idea, like there it is, and it's got all these trees on top of it. And this is what they're building right now. They're actually building this. You can see it's like mirror on the outside. On the inside, it's like this. Like there's like buildings and apartments and stuff like that, malls or whatever. They're actually building this. They're already laying the foundation. They're already doing it. So a lot of people thought this was just a fantasy world that they're gonna. This is actually showing the VR rendering, and this is them actually making it now. So they're actually making it. There's actually 4 cities they're making, and they're already building the foundation. You can even see a building down here being created on this one. So there's like 4 different sections. One's like a ski resort. One is that wall thing I told you about. This is some other thing. This has got golf courses and stuff. I don't know what it is exactly, but they got the ski resort one over here. They already started building that as well. So they're actually building this. And oh yeah, I was going to tell you, I forgot to tell you this earlier. 3 guys. Saudi Arabia is planning to get rid of 3 local tribe members who opposed its futuristic NEOM megacity. Literally take them out, just like this, because they opposed it. So if you live in the area, you're like one of these rich guys that live in the area, you don't want to go along with it. Instead of like you being able to vote on it, they just get rid of you. So this is what I was trying to say earlier. I think this makes it very obvious that this is not just a city. There's something more going on here than that. I mean, if you stand in the way of it, you're gone. These guys actually live there, and they're going to be gone. So,
hey, give me that name of the currency again.
Oh yeah. The currency is New Earth Order money, NEOM, and it stands for NEOM. So that's what NEOM means: New Earth Order money. Apparently, I don't know, or New Earth Order something, whatever NEOM means. This is like stuff I talked about like 10 years ago on YouTube. Like this is what they want, folks, and like now we're actually seeing them build it. So yeah, and what I was trying to say earlier is like when people talk about mystery, Babylon, they talk about New York City, all these places, but if you actually read the text, it says there will be shepherds in the city. And there's like no shepherds in New York City. There's not people with like a flock of goats behind them walking around in New York City. You know what I mean? So it would make sense though, it could, because very well, I mean, Mecca has that right now. So a lot of people thought it was Mecca, but I'm thinking it could be this NEOM, because I'm guaranteeing there's going to be flocks, in that city as well, even though it's like futuristic and has robots and stuff. I bet you there will still be like things like that. You know what I mean? So, and there's also a lot of other aspects too. I've actually went into it, and I did a video about this like some years ago, going into detail as to why this makes more sense than for it to be like New York City or something like that, or Rome. A lot of people say Rome, and actually, I think Rome, in a sense, was at one time, because it is a city on seven hills. It's actually on seven hills. There's actually a lot of cities on seven hills, though. I think even Mecca's on seven hills. Rome is on seven hills. I think Mecca is. Um, so there's a lot of cities on seven hills. You know what I mean? Apparently, if you go look it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, um, that's really all. I mean, there's actually I got about 7 more videos, but I'll hold off on those. I think I've had my fill of dysfunctional church stuff. Um, for right now. Well, wait a minute. Unless I've got like one that's funny.
You got one that's
Yeah,
funny?
more sad than funny.
Ugh.
Let's see. Oh, okay. I got one more for us. I got one more for us. Just one more for us. Here we go. You remember I played one when they're rather liberal with the holy water, with the mineral with the olive oil or whatever. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Is that oil? Or is that water?
Some kind of it. I don't know. I I wouldn't probably want anybody to light a match though. But I don't know. But I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously, it's something that it's probably a blessed. If it's water or oil, it's symbolic of it's been prayed for. You know, it's just there's just a lot of there's just a lot of weird stuff that's going on, and a lot of stuff and these are not and none of these. I mean, one of the churches was kind of a small church, but it was still like a missionary Baptist church, so it was like a regular church, and that's when they were fighting over the who the pastor was supposed to be or whatever. But all of the
Yeah.
other churches are big churches. It's not like we're talking about like some corner store kind of church. You're talking about big churches where you're seeing this kind of blatant dysfunction, just stuff that's just like, why is this like the norm now? Why are we seeing this stuff with such regularity? Um, that doesn't seem to be a good sign. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I agree. Tons.
All right, man.
Twilight.
Well, this is going to be our time. Everyone, like the video on the way out. Like, share, comment, subscribe, become a channel member where you'll get access to all archive videos. Support independent media. Support independent media. Super chats enabled. Super thanks for the replay gang. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Dr. Thunder Music, all one word. Spell out the word doctor. And yeah, become a channel member. Master's degree level, $5 a month. Really helps. Get access to everything on the channel. And yeah, that's all that we have for today. Please come back next week for another riveting episode of Two Dads React. That's our time. Peace.
See ya.